Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'll be reviewing for you Platform 8 for the Nintendo Switch. As evidenced by the name, this game was made by the same developers behind the Exit 8, which also came to the Switch this year. That game was all about finding anomalies in a never-ending corridor, and if you found one, you turned back, and if the corridor was normal, you'd continue going, and you'd have to go through 8 straight floors of guessing correctly in order to leave the subway. The premise of this is similar, but perhaps because they realized it would just be way too easy if you already knew the rules, the developers decided we're gonna make a new set of rules for this game so that players don't just speed run to the end, because the Exit 8 was a very short game. This game is also pretty short, but it does a couple of things to try to make it slightly longer. You do still have to look for abnormalities, but this time you're on a train instead of a corridor, so there's a lot more ambient train sounds to make you even more unnerved. There's no music, so that adds to the atmosphere that something could pop out at you at any time. Some of these anomalies are subtle, but some of them are much more in your face, some of them quite literally, and it is possible to get a game over. Now, I don't want to say too much more, because the more I say, the more that gives away the game, but also the less I say, the more frustrated people are going to get, so I will just say that if you want to be able to figure this game out without looking at a walkthrough, make sure you're always paying attention to the signs. There are electric signs above each door that'll help you keep track of how many corridors you've gone through without making a mistake, and also pay attention to if there is something on the door at the end of the corridor, as both of those will sometimes give you hints as to whether you should proceed, whether you should not proceed, etc. So each anomaly, in a sense, almost has its own rules, and figuring out, okay, what do I do to get past this anomaly? Or do I do nothing? Then what do I do? So the constant question of figuring out whether you should progress or not, in a sense, makes this game more fun, but in another sense, it also makes it an inferior sequel, because with the Exit 8, while it is true that I did have to look up what I had to do, the premise was still very simple, whereas I had to look up several different sources for Platform 8 to figure out what I was supposed to do, and even then, I felt like I was kind of guessing, like, did I really do that right or not? Despite my grievances with getting into it, actually playing through the game is amazing. The controls are simple. You just move the camera, sit down on the benches, and open doors, and that's about it. You can adjust the camera sensitivity and several options in the menu, such as removing motion blur, getting rid of the voice acting when you're starting up the train, etc. And let's just say that the game expects you to be a completionist. So after you have completed the main game, you'll see signs above the doors that tell you how many anomalies you're missing. And then they will also make sure that you do not already see an anomaly that you saw in the main game, so that you're constantly progressing. And then you get a really cool surprise at the very end of the game that I'm not going to give away, but fans of the Exit 8 will be overjoyed to see it. I was, and it kind of makes me want to recomplete the game again, because it's not strenuous, it doesn't take long, it'll probably only take you about an hour, but it's a very good, well-spent hour, even if some people might complain that it doesn't have enough substance. But it does still reward critical thinking, environmental observation, and also not getting completely jump scared, as I'm not the type of person that startles easily, but my heart did skip a beat a couple of times in this game, so that's the sign of a well-done horror game that's not outright horror, like say Resident Evil. It has more of a subtle feel to it. Normally this game costs $4, although I had enough gold points to get it for 86 cents, and I feel like that was absolutely worth my money. But if you don't have enough gold points and you want to just spend the $4, I think it's a pretty good price. It's a short game, but it's also so much fun to try to get absolutely everything out of it. It doesn't have hard to grasp controls, and even if you think, oh well, it's based on a Japanese train station, so do I have to read Japanese? They have more than enough visual indicators and stuff in English that you should be fine. I will say that the game does expect you to have basic reading skills. So if, for example, you're visually impaired, this is not the kind of game for you. But if you're able to do basic reading in either English or Japanese, as well as basic environmental observation, as well as some quick reflexes, you'll be absolutely fine. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the video, and did you also play the Exit 8? And what'd you think of that? And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye!